Good morning, learners. Let's continue with the chapter. We are not afraid to die if we are all together. Until now, in the two parts which I provided you yesterday, we have read that how the author had, the narrator had started his journey, and narrator we know he was Gordon Cook, who is the writer also of this chapter, and it is written in the first person narrative. Uh, and he had started this journey with his friend, with his wife Mary, two kids and two crewmen, and everything was going on well with them. And they had started it from England, Plymouth, and they were kind of reliving the dream of James Cook, which James Cook had seen 200 years before. And suddenly this excursion, it took a tragic turn when they entered in the southern part of Indian Ocean. And there, the inclement weather, it made them go through a terrible time of their life, and they really had to work hard to make it a go. So we see here that that particular evening, he and his wife were sitting together, and they had kind of lost all kind of hopes in life. They thought that their end was near. But Wave Walker, now what is Wave Walker here? Wave Walker is the ship. It rode out the storm, and by the morning of January 6th, with the wind easing. Now what is wind easing is the wind had slowed down. He tried to get a reading on the sextant. Sextant is an instrument by which you kind of find out the direction of the ship. And back in the chart room, I worked on wind speed, changes of course, drift and current in an effort to calculate their position. Actually, writer wanted to find out their actual position so that he may calculate any nearby island. And the best which he could determine was that they were somewhere like 150,000 kilometers of ocean, looking for a 65-kilometer wide island. Somewhere there was an island, but he did not know where exactly. And when he was thinking, his daughter Sue, she was moving painfully, and she joined him. The left side of her head was now very sullen, and her blackened eyes narrowed to slits. Slits, opening, like the eyes, the eye was like it had sullen so much that it was hardly an opening there in the eye. She gave me a card which she had made herself, and on the front she had drawn caricatures of Mary. Now, what is a caricature? Caricature is a drawing. So she had drawn Mary and me with the words, and what words she had written there? Here are some funny people. Did they make you laugh? I laughed a lot as well. Like, she had described her family as a very funny family. And there was a message inside. I love you both. So this card is to say thank you and let's hope for the best. Somehow we had to make it. And seeing this, the author, the writer, the narrator, he was kind of motivated to give his best to save his family. I checked and rechecked my calculations. So he checked and rechecked, and then he realized that they had lost their main compass. Now, what is compass? Compass is again an instrument, a magnetic instrument to find out the directions and the wind speed and everything. And now he was using a spare one which had not been corrected for magnetic variation, like they had not checked it before, so some corrections were not made there. And so he made an allowance for this, like some compensation for this. Allowance for this means he could not have calculated the exact thing, but definitely some assumptions he could have made. And considering the westerly currents which flow through the part of that Indian Ocean, so seeing that wind speed and using that particular device, he could find out something. He assumed something. And about 2 p.m. he went on deck and he asked Larry. Now, who is Larry? Those two crewmen whom he had taken with him. So he asked him to steer course of 185 degrees, and if we are lucky, I told him with a conviction that I did not feel, but he could expect to see the island at about 5 p.m. Like, we are lucky we can hit it upon at 5. Then with a very heavy heart, I went below. I climbed on my bunk. Now, bunk is a, we call the bed place, the bedding, where we sleep. It is known as bunk. And amazingly, I dozed off. Now, dozed off is to fall asleep suddenly, like, and when I woke, it was 6 p.m. When he woke up, it was 6 p.m. and growing dark. I knew we must have missed the island, and with the sail we had left, we couldn't hope to beat back into the westerly winds. Now, the author knew that if he misses this island, there was no way to, survive this journey. At that moment, a touzled head appeared by my bunk. Now, what is touzled? Touzled is untidy, So it appeared by my bunk and said, "Can I have a hug, Daddy?" Jonathan asked, and Sue was right behind him. Both my kids were there. "Why am I getting a hug now?" I asked. "Because you are the best daddy in the whole world and the best captain," my son replied. "Not today, John, I'm afraid." Like, I was like, I was not ready to take up this appreciation because, I kind of failed to keep my family safe. "Why, you must be," said Sue in a matter of fact voice. "You found the island." "What?" I shouted. "It's out there in front of us." They chorused. Chorus means this, they said it together. "It is as big as a battleship." And I rushed on deck and I gazed with relief at the stark outline of Elimstorum. It was only a bleak piece of volcanic rock. Like, this island was not very big. It was just a piece of, volcanic rock with little vegetation. But for me, it was the most beautiful island in the world. We anchored offshore, like, for that particular night. We just anchored. Anchored means we put a, like, our ship, we just fastened it there. And the next morning, all 28 inhabitants, now inhabitants means people living there. Okay, so all 28 inhabitants of the island cheered as they helped us ashore, and they really helped us and they cheered. We felt happy, and with land under my feet again, my thoughts were full of Larry and Harvey. Now, who is Larry and Harvey? They are those two crewmen. Cheerful and optimistic. They were pretty cheerful and they were very, very optimistic. Now, what is optimistic is? Hopeful under the direst stress. Now, direst is the maximum stress. And of Mary, who stayed at the wheel for all those crucial hours. Most of all, I thought of a 7-year-old girl who did not want us to worry about a head injury, which subsequently, like that particular head injury, subsequently means following. So it took some 6 minor operations to remove a recurring blood clot. Like, she would have all the time a blood clotting between her skin and her skull. And this, at the same time, 6-year-old boy who was not afraid to die. So I was really thankful to my family to have survived though all those crucial time on that ship. Now, moving on with understanding the text, you can go on with list the steps taken by the captain to protect the ship when rough weather began and to check the flooding of the water in the ship, and describe the mental condition of the voyagers on 14th. So out of this, you have to do this question number 2 and describe the ships in the narration of the events as indicated in the 3 sections of the text. No, we will do only question number 2. Describe the mental condition of the voyagers on 4th and 5th of January. So, since the ship was struck with the a terrible storm, so definitely there was no respite for them. They were going through hell of a time, and they had kind of lost all sort of hopes in their life. So I would be sending you the assignment. You don't have to worry about it. And these questions, I will send you up all the assignments. What difference did you notice between the reaction of the adults and the children, which when faced with danger? Obviously, the children, they were more fearless, and they were more optimistic than the adults, because probably they could not be maybe see the the possibility of their life coming to an end, maybe. And how does the story suggest this optimism helps to endure the direst stress? Actually, that is this is very well said here, that optimism helps to endure the stress. Obviously, when we are optimistic about things, we can kill the stress, because it is already said that one should be hopeful, because hope itself brings a lot of positivity. And when you are positive, in life, you are sure to get on with the kind of attempts, with many achievements also. And negativity actually, it puts you in kind of isolation. Like, you get isolated, thinking all those negative things. And in isolation, you cannot be you cannot be very, very constructive, let me tell you. Because to construct things, to create things, you have to have that positivity in your attitude, in your personality, and which is required to succeed in life. Now, what lessons do we learn from such hazardous experience when we are face to face with death? Of course, like, death, it tells us many lessons, like, because of course, I don't know whether you have experienced it or not, but when we are face to face with that, our true colors, come to life. What we are as a person, and a person. I've seen many person, like when they would be face to face, they would kind of start recollecting all the bad things which they have done in their life. They would be asking for forgiveness, and all these phases, they keep on going in your mind when you face death actually. And why do you think people undertake such adventurous expeditions in spite of the risk involved? Of course, like there are several reasons for this. Some of them go for money, some of them go just for adventure, some of them go for fame, and some of them go, it is in their genes, like their adrenaline rush, they are like after. So there are pretty, like it's a long list of reasons, so I'll be sending you, all right, all these answers. Now, working with words, uh this is ship's terminology, so you have to do it. This is homework, okay? And airship, flagship, lightship, this is also homework. These are phrases, you have to do it as homework. And now this is a, yeah, this is something really good. If you do it in your homework copy, you have to draw this ship, and you have to just map these words which are given there in the ship. Just point that location. Here is some information downloaded from the internet on Eagle Amsterdam. No, you don't have to go through this. This is done. We are done with it. And this is fine. Okay, so we stop here, and tomorrow we'll start up with another chapter from this Hornbill, Discovering Tut. All right, everyone. Thank you.